let's head to the SEC, where Jimbo Fisher, after another disappointing home loss, is now headed with his Texas A&M Aggies to Knoxville, Rocky Top, Tennessee, baby. That is right. Tennessee, a 3.5-point favorite at home. The over-under in this one set at 55.5. And so it's interesting because you look at these two teams and listen, from the Tennessee perspective, we'll get to them momentarily, but they're coming off a bye. They're really kind of where they should be. But I could tell you, like they're also, I don't want to speak for the whole fan base, but there's still some lingering disappointment from that Florida game. And I think everybody's kind of like, was that an aberration? Did that mean anything? Did it not? Florida's not very good. We shouldn't have lost that game. And so I think we're going to learn a lot about Tennessee in this game. But the team that we're going to learn about is Texas A&M, right? Because to me, and I talked about this on Monday's Aaron Torres pod, I really think when you look at this game, this is kind of the one for Jimbo Fisher, right? I think there are a lot of people that were out on Jimbo Fisher before last week. I think there are a lot that are out after last week for all the reasons that we talked about. Not going for it on 4th and 1, the late red zone trip where he burned a timeout just to kick a field goal. You go on and on down the list. It wasn't a good day for him. What I would say, if you bounce back here, I think all is forgotten. But if you lose here as Texas A&M, then all of a sudden, realistically, you're probably looking at, first of all, you're 4-3. You're on a 2-game losing streak going into your bye. You're really probably, whatever. Like you know what I'm trying to get at. Like, if you lose this game, I think completely changes the entire perspective of the A&M season. You win this game, you're 5-2 going into your bye. Nice road win. You lose it, you're 4-3. You still, oh, by the way, have at Ole Miss, at LSU to end the regular season. Those are two great offenses, and you got to be worried if you're an Aggie fan. And I think, frankly, you got to be worried if you're Jimbo Fisher and his agent, whether you're going to survive this season or not. Now, in terms of the matchup, listen, we've obviously talked about A&M a lot on this show. We really haven't talked a ton about Tennessee. And I think what's interesting about Tennessee, Joe Milton gets all the headlines and all the publicity. Did you see how far he could throw it out of the stadium? And it's like, okay, cool. Here's the wild part, though. You know what's crazy about Tennessee? They're a running and defense-based team this year. I think, look, we all remember Hendon Hooker from last year. He was incredible. He was unreal. But at the end of the day, Joe Milton isn't Hendon Hooker. Josh Heupel knows that, and he's relying on other aspects of his team. Jalen Wright, the running back, has been phenomenal. 3 100-yard rushing games this season. And oh, by the way, I wonder how many people know this. Tennessee's the number 1 rush offense in the SEC. So they're moving the ball on the ground. And the defense is actually really good as well. Another one that I wonder how many people really know that Tennessee not only has the number 1 rush offense in the SEC, you understand that they have a top 25 defense as well. That Alabama defense that everybody raves about, statistically, Tennessee's defense is very similar. Now, have they played at Texas? Have they played even at Texas A&M? No. So I don't want to overhype them, but through 5 games, they've been very good. Back to Texas A&M for a second before I make my official pick. Listen, we know what's at stake, and we know what happened last week. And so I just went through it, and I don't need to go through it again. I was thinking about that game, though, this week, and I do want to mention one thing that I think is worth just briefly discussing before, again, making that pick. And that's this. Texas A&M isn't perfect. We know that. We get that. But there were some positives to take out of last Saturday, probably more than I realized in the moment when I was reacting to it over the weekend. First off, that run defense is still really, 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 really good. I didn't realize this until after the game and after, cooler heads prevailed, whatever. Alabama in that game had 23 yards rushing, under 2 yards per carry. And I don't think that's like Alabama's offensive line stick. No, I think Texas A&M, they still got dudes up front. Edgerrin Cooper's unreal. Walter Nolan's unreal. Fadil Diggs is unreal. And so this game, to me, what I think Texas A&M is clearly going to do, make Joe Milton beat you, take away the run game. And then is Joe Milton going to go like Jalen Milroe did last week, or are you going to have more success? But at the end of the day, when I'm picking this game, first of all, can't bet on Texas A&M again, because I was the one on this show last week. Oh my goodness, Texas A&M, they are going to beat Alabama. And I got burned and I look stupid, so I'm going to stay away. Tennessee, I don't feel like I know enough about to comfortably say that they're going to win this game. If I had to make a straight up pick, winner or loser, it's probably Tennessee. But if I had to make a betting pick, This is probably the smart one. It's probably the under. And I know the under isn't sexy and it's not fun to talk about. But at the end of the day, think about this game. Tennessee, the strength of their team is the run game and the defense. They're going to run the ball. They're not a chew up the clock type running attack, but they're going to run the ball right into Texas A&M's strength. And Texas A&M probably isn't all that worried about Joe Milton. And so Josh Heupel is probably going to try to limit Joe Milton. Texas A&M is probably going to try to make him make plays. And then on the other side, it's probably going to be pretty similar. This Tennessee defense has been very good. And I don't think any of us trust Max Johnson to go into Knoxville and move the ball up and down the field in a super high profile game. So if I had to make a pick rather than picking Tennessee or Texas A&M, I'd actually lean the under in this game of 55.5. I think this has 24-21 written all over it, 27-20, something like that. I can't even make a pick. I really have no super strong opinion on who's going to win and who's going to lose, but I do think both defenses show out. I think Tennessee, at the very least, they're playing great defense. They're running the ball well. We'll see about Joe Milton. Again, I think the under is the smart play here.